Here's Jeff Marek, the host of The Sheet here
Hang
on the
on.
Nation Network.
Hang on.
Hi.
I have a RAV4 hybrid, and I've done 4. I've had 4 kids.
You got a big hatch in a RAV4.
Well,
It's different.
Come on.
Yes.
This is a sporty car.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right.
You gotta think about what you're talking about.
I get it, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a 2010, Matt, if you want to throw that in for a little bit of spice, too. I want to raise my douchebag hockey dad quotient even that much higher. Here comes a guy that talks about his kids like they're like he's a scout.
But
they're just
2010s, they're into the senior size bags now.
Yeah,
so
2010s,
They are
a bigger boy now.
Yeah, and they're sort of at the, I'm just going to grab a ride with Adam. Oh, I'm just going to grab a ride with Jason. Like that's the level they're at, right?
Yeah.
And I want to get to the rink an hour and a half early for home games because now all of a sudden there are female fans that come to the games on a consistent basis, which is the new wrinkle into hockey here.
When some of my friends first started getting their driver's license and it became like pick me up for football or basketball, my parents absolutely loved that. They're like, great, we don't have to anymore.
Well, it trims an hour because you got to get there early.
We thought we were the coolest, rolling up into the parking lot with our gear. No parents. Mm-hmm. We're 16 now.
You know what, though? I loved it, too. I loved it. And for me, that's back when I played in that's how old I am, the MTHL. But there was nothing better than both playing MTHL and high school hockey at the same time and getting rides from your boys to the rink. And now that I'm at the other end of it, you know what I dread? What I absolutely dread as a parent? The final drive. It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
The last drive is coming.
Yep.
I don't get scared. I'm not scared of many things in life. You get to a certain age, it's like, whatever happens, happens.
No, I'm scared of it.
The last drive scares me. I don't know what I'm going to be like.
Well, I did the last drive for just one kid, not my last drive ever, but I still have my baby. But my third is retired now, and that was tough. Yeah.
Well,
all right, on that solemn note.
Parents here.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you keep playing?
I'm not ready for this emotionally. Keep playing, please. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Yeah, well, on that solemn note, let's turn to the Vancouver Canucks. Keep up the theme.
Good.
No, it was a fun game. You were saying off air. It was a fun game. They played well. Yeah.
Might have been the last drive still.
Third period, kind of things crumbled a little bit, and you are playing against Dallas, like the team that could win the cup.
Yep.
I thought they played good. I really did. Like I first of all, I enjoyed the game. It was a fun game to watch. They're really competitive against a team that, like I just mentioned, could win the Stanley Cup. There was some boo-boos along the way, and when you're a team that can't score its way out of its problems, and when your mistakes end up in the back of the net on a consistent basis, it's tough. But I thought Hronek played really well. I thought Lankinen played really well. I thought Elias Pettersson continues to improve throughout the season year, but still, at the end of it, it's a loss.
You pointed out the nonsense of this sport, though. They have played subpar on a lot of nights over the last 5-6 games and scored 5-6 goals.
I know.
They play what looked like it was going to be a Mona Lisa, and they can only get 2. Like the sport doesn't make any sense.
Sometimes you paint a Picasso, sometimes you paint a barn. Is that what you're kind of getting at here?
But it doesn't correlate to the scoreboard necessarily. Last night they were painting a Picasso and ended up with
that's
2
hockey.
Yeah.
You know what I've always felt? I'm curious what you guys think about this. I've thought about this one a lot too. It seems to me, and again, I am doing this based off nothing but vibes. It seems to me like a team starts to come out of a losing streak. When they lose games they should win, and they go into a losing streak when they win games that they should lose. I think teams sense it. I think players sense it. Do you guys get that same vibe?
That's an Alain Vigneault-ism.
Alain Vigneault used to say that to us all the time, Jeff, and Alain had him some streaks both ways here with the Vancouver guys. And at any point when you're on a winning streak, there will be some games in there that you had no business winning, that it was puck luck, and that's what fueled the streak. And same thing when you're on the losing skid. There will be games in there that you absolutely deserve to win, and yet because hockey gods, puck, whatever you want to call it, I mean, it is a game. We say it all the time on this show. It is a game governed by the spontaneous bounces of a frozen rubber disc. It lacks a precision sometimes that you can count on.
But Jeff, this has been a weird one. This has not been a streaky team. This is a team that came off a streak of 9 games in a row of win-loss, win-loss. Like, that's what they are, and that's almost what gives today a little bit of panic. Because for the first time, I think since maybe week 1 of the season, they are 2 games below 500.
And they're 5 points back of the playoffs. They're 4 points back of the playoff bar, but they got 5 teams to jump, and they have played more of the games than just about everybody.
And next Thursday is coming, right? Like, that's the date that we're all circling, even though, some circled the week before U.S. Thanksgiving, but Thursday is coming. Mm-hmm. When teams start to say, okay, we've had, it seems I was just in Washington, and for the pod that I do with Gabby, we were talking to Stan Bowman, and we're talking about, at what point do you know what your team is? Now, certainly there's always like a history with them, and you can sort of project out, but you really get it because every year a team will change. Sometimes it'll pop, sometimes it'll take a step back, but it's generally right around that time that you decide, although complicating things this year, maybe more so in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, everybody's more similar than different. Like, specifically in the East, it seems as if not every team's identical, but teams are more the same than they are different. It's almost like these teams are all the same team. And you just sort of mix them up on every night, and that's why it's so packed. It's a little bit different in the Western Conference, obviously. But you start to ask yourself, do we have enough to play at a pace where we can jump over teams? Like, is there enough that you've seen that you say, you know what, this is just hockey? And it's going to course correct over 82 games. And I know that we all grouse, and I'm the leader of that charge. And I'll grouse about it even more next year when it's 84. We all grouse about how long the season is, but it really does give you a snapshot of, who belongs and who doesn't belong. Injuries are, of course, a mitigating factor, and I don't need to talk to Vancouver Canucks fans about what that can do to a team. But you have to really think to yourself and have those honest conversations. Can we, and this is what Vancouver's doing going up to next Thursday, do we believe we can play at a clip that'll allow us to jump over all these teams? Because it's not just the points, it's the teams ahead, as you mentioned. That's the question you ask yourself.
All that, and that's the big picture, and that's something that we'll get, more and more in view as we get to next Thursday and beyond. Have you seen what Elias Pettersson is doing here, Jeff? Like, we're asking the question, is he all the way back here? With what he's done over the last week, because gosh, he just looks like the weight of the world is off his shoulders, and that he's actually playing with confidence for the first time in like nearly 2 years.
You don't have to be a Vancouver Canucks fan to be happy for Elias Pettersson. Like, there are just some people in the game that you cheer for, that you want to do well, knowing what they have gone through, and Elias Pettersson is, at least for me, a really easy person to cheer for. I'm happy for him. I'm not saying that he's back to 100-point Pettersson, but you're starting to see some success. I thought he was burying that one last night, by the way, on that Esa Lindell gaff. Like, it's right in front of the net. Like, that is sweet spot of the bat. Elias Pettersson, bam! It's
yeah.
I thought that one was, and maybe you could say, like, oh, the 100-point Pettersson scores that all day, all night. I thought he was more of that one, but that's just because we're no longer saying he's going to find a way to miss that. Now you're getting to the point where, oh yeah, that's going in. He's like, your first instinct is not how is he going to mess up here in this great spot. It's, oh yeah, this thing's in the net, and it's a surprise when it doesn't happen. So maybe that's one of the great indicators here that, and I don't think he's all the way back to that peak performance that we saw a few years ago.
No.
But he's getting there, and that's promising for the Vancouver Canucks. Obvious statement from Marek.
You can almost see on his goal that light that went on that said, oh, okay, I guess I got to take this to the net. And you can almost sense a small reluctance. Like, he's still breaking down interior barriers, I think, in his own brain here, Jeff, where he wanted to pass, but he's like, oh, God, there's a lot of space there. I think I got to fill it. And then he goes and fills it and he scores.
This.
Like, it's not his first instinct. Like, for a lot of players, it's their first instinct. But it's coming.
It's like a 12-step process.
It is.
He's
It's
breaking down there. He's there in stages.
But see, I've always, I know we always, okay, let me say it this way. You know, we always complain about walk-off interviews, right? In the intermissions. They don't say anything. They have nothing to say. They got marbles in their mouth, and, you know, just let them get to the dressing room. They don't need the towel. We don't need the one shot. But I'm always of the firm belief that players, like Blake, to your point, like, when someone like is too much in their head and they're overthinking something, like, okay, this is my instinct, but I got to break my instinct and I got to do this. I'm always of the belief that, and we generally on walk-offs, you guys know this, you take the player that did something in the period and then you ask them to explain it, and they do a bad job, obviously, because it's like they're not thinking it.
No,
it's just instinct, and they're playing. Like, so what happened on that play? I don't know, like. So-and-so made a great play, Stevie to Joey to Freddie, and came to me, and I put it in the net. Like, it's always awful.
Yeah.
But I think that's natural because great players aren't thinking.
No.
They're just reacting, and so much of hockey is just a reaction and instinct game. As much as they put together like game plans, and this is sophisticated, and this is what we have to do, and this is our system and all. Hockey's a game of like, okay, then the puck did this, and then I did that, and I reacted to this, and that's why those interviews are usually horrible.
Yeah,
But,
you're just training the rats
I think
into patterns is all you're doing, but they're still you're still trying to have them not think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, okay, yeah, you try to fill up their brain with all this hockey knowledge of what to do, and then forget it. You know, like I've got this. Can I show you something? I've got this right in front of me here. It's an old Alan Watts quote. I don't think it says kanjis from Alan Watts from the '60s, and it says, "Unlearn something daily." That take what you've learned and unlearn it every single day. The old saying is, you know, the man of the university learns something daily. The man of the Dow unlearns something daily. And it's always sort of stuck with me. Like, don't let the cement harden around what you think you know. Be in more of a sort of flow state about it. So Blake, I've thought about like what you're talking about a lot as it relates to sports, and you can see it when it's in people's heads. You can see when it's like, my instinct is to pass, but nope. This is, and it might just be a tiny little second as it is in hockey, but for Elias Pettersson, it's the world at that moment. I'm so glad you brought that up because I think it's such a great point that's like this other hurdle that he still needs to get over. You know, unlearn something here, jump over that hurdle.
But it's close. Don't let you can see him. He's
getting there.
Yeah, he's
getting there.
Pushing him over.
We can switch gears on something that's not getting
here. Was that too pretentious, by the way?
No.
Is that too
never.
pretentious? Drop it.
I liked it.
That was sayings on your show.
We do pretension here.
No, we do. We have a high tolerance for pomposity on this show.
Widen the door frame to fit my head on the way out.
And the feathers.
I got the bad feathers today, so I got the lid.
Yeah. It's going to be an extraordinary night at the Pacific Coliseum tonight, Jeff, when the Vancouver Golden Knights play their inaugural game. They've sold it out, so they'll have 15,000 plus in the building. The building's got spruced up a little bit. Help us out here on the PWHL. Like, how have things gone in the other? Because like Vancouver is a big time event town. This is an event, and so the game is sold out. They're not talking about season ticket numbers. The Golden Knights are. They say that's proprietary, but
they say it's the highest in the PWHL though.
Yeah, like how successful have the other franchises been? Like, how long's the honeymoon period, or are these just humdinger businesses that that are off and running from the jump?
So there's a lot there, but there's a lot, you know, with the PWHL right now. Yeah, season 3 kicks off today, and everybody has suspected from pretty much day one that as this league expands, and the first set of expansion is to go west with Seattle and Vancouver, we wonder about next. The belief is they want to get to, and I've heard the numbers as high as 12. As quickly as possible, and the long-term business plan, because these teams are still owned by the league, the long-term business plan is to hit a number, and I believe it's 12, could be wrong, and at that point, that's when you sell your national TV rights, and at that point, once you have that contract, then you start to sell the teams. That's when the second part of all of this goes into effect, and I would imagine that there would be NHL teams, because we look at the markets that they've gone into. There would be the NHL teams that buy them. Now, I don't think that that's the exclusive business plan of who you're going to sell to and how you're going to do it, but I do believe that that is an avenue that the PWHL will go down. The profile is great. The attendance has been fantastic. This is still a very expensive endeavor, and I don't think that this league is profitable right now to the point where we're going to call this a major financial success. This is still in the building block phase, but the fact that Montreal and Toronto will do games at Scotiabank and the Bell, and we'll sell it out, and it'll be massive spectacles. That's encouraging. What Ottawa is going through right now with the new rink going there is, the rink is essentially too small for what they have to offer, and they're going to have to, if they're going to stay in what's going to be called, I guess, Lansdowne 2 here, they're going to take a significant haircut. That's encouraging. That the fan support is there, the quality is high, the interest is there, and the interest in there is there from a lot of other markets. So it will be interesting, and you see this year, I mean, there's a number of neutral locations that they're going to. I think that Edmonton is a tap-in. I think that Denver is a tap-in. I believe that the league has looked at Detroit for a long time as a potential destination. I've wondered about Washington. I've wondered about Pittsburgh, Chicago.
Is the player pool deep enough for all this, Jeff? That's the one thing Blake and I have talked about. Is the player pool deep enough?
That is the big question.
Okay.
I think what you've hit on is, because, like, first of all, there's still a lot of players in Europe, specifically Finland, that you can draw from for the PWHL. But are there enough that will allow you to expand as quickly? Now, there's a lot of elite level college players that are filling the ranks as well. College hockey has never been better on the women's side than it is right now, so that is encouraging. But it's not a great hockey podcast answer, but the answer is I don't know, and I don't know who knows if the player pool is deep enough to expand that fast.
You don't know until you watch a game and you're like, whoop, it's not deep enough, right?
But here's what I will say, though. This league, it has a real shot, because the other thing, like Blake and I noticed this week, Jeff, they've got games on TSN, on Sportsnet, on CBC.
Yes.
On Amazon
CBC.
Prime.
Yeah.
Like, their breadth of carriage here, it's incredible. Like, they're broader than the NHL in terms of how many.
The interesting dynamic, though, as it pertains to ownership that you brought up, though, guys, is I think a lot of the interest here, at least, I don't know if this goes everywhere, is that it's not the Canucks. That people want to support this because it's high-level hockey that they know is not the Canucks. I think there's a sense of that, too.
You guys have you guys been to PWHL games yet?
No, I've been to NWHL games, and I went to the.
Okay.
Sorry, I went to the one that was here, the league game that they played here,
the takeover game last year.
Yeah.
There's such a different vibe about it, like and specifically in Canada. So when you go to see an NHL game in Canada, we're all the same hockey fans here. Like, there's this like anxiety that comes along with this, like this sort of nervous anxiety, whether you're going to see the Maple Leafs or the Winnipeg Jets or the Vancouver Canucks or whomever. There's like a anxiety about it in some this underlying current. But for the PWHL, since it has become such a success and it's a league that a lot of fans, specifically women, have wanted for a long, long time, there's almost this vibe of celebration. Now, I don't know how long this lasts, right? I don't know how long it lasts. I really hope that this continues and there's that same spirit and that same energy. I remember going in the first season and, like, women who had played their whole lives, like, watching this, and I would talk to them and like no joke, like tears in their eyes, saying we never thought this was possible. One of there's one sign that I saw in the first season, and this one funny, but two, it's a real kind of gut punch. These women, they would have been in their mid-20s, I believe, with this one large sign that said, "If we knew there was going to be, we would have tried harder." And on the first hand, you look at it, you go, okay, that's funny, that's kind of cute. And then you really think deeper about it, and you go, man, that's embarrassing for our hockey culture. That it took this long to get there, where there's finally a league for all of it. Like, my first instinct was like, That's a great one. That's an awesome sign. And then I thought, oh man,
So
it really has taken a long time.
I don't want to get too deep into it because we're a little tight for time, but I would argue that the timing was perfect.
Well, talent pool wise, yes.
Well, not just that,
100%.
but also the commercial audience being there. There were efforts made broadly across a lot of sports, across a lot of sports media companies. You remember TSNW? Like 20 years ago, they tried to start
I do.
a whole...
Yeah, Jennifer Hedger was the centerpiece of all of it.
That's
yeah.
right.
Exactly. And let's face it, the WNBA had some really fallow years there for quite a long period of time.
Yeah.
But over the last 5 years, I would say, the groundswell for women's sport has never been bigger in my lifetime. And there's a commercial audience there now across several sports, too. So
the WNBA was the canary in the mine shaft, right? When it flourished, everybody was like, oh, okay, we can do this now.
Yeah, and so you're seeing it now, like NCAA basketball, what Caitlin Clark did. Do you know that? Do you know that NCAA women's volleyball has gotten huge? Like Nebraska's got a program so good they can put a court on the football stadium and it's crazy. So
it's massive. Yes.
So something has fundamentally changed here in terms of the appetites of audiences and PWHL, I think, is beautifully positioned here. NSL as well. We just had the Vancouver Ice win the championship of the inaugural NSL Northern Super League women's soccer. I think the PWHL has perfectly timed it here and is perfectly positioned.
It's not just fans too, but a lot of key brands in a lot of key categories want to be attached to it.
Yep,
that's one of the other keys to a lot of this here. Still, right now, it's going to be a butts and seats driven league, but there are a lot of brands that want to attach themselves to the PWHL and attach themselves to the to the women's game. And I agree with you, Matt. Like the timing of this was perfect.
Yep.
And the one thing that I do wonder about, not to sort of throw a wet blanket on all this, but further to the point about, what's the level of quality going to be as they expand. I wonder what happens to some of the superstar players that we've watched for a long time after this Olympic cycle is done. Now, there's plenty of like the Sarah Filliers to come in and replace, but like at a certain point, Marie-Philippe Poulin is not going to be playing hockey anymore, right? Like there's a lot of athletes that will make that decision, and I wonder about it as early as the end of this Olympic cycle.
Hey, the Northern Super League is flourished in its first year without Christine Sinclair involved, right? Who'd have thought that? You would have thought you'd build that league around her.
Without Morgan, some of the U.S. stars too that have recently retired. We're gonna miss Pooh.
What? Oh, and you know what? She'll do whatever she wants after.
Yep.
If you're the Montreal Canadiens, it's just like hire Marie-Philippe Poulin just to be. Hey, what job am I doing? We'll figure that out after.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we just want you here. The other really good point of.
Director of winning, director of clutch.
Yes, it's the clutchiest player that's ever clutched in the history of clutch. Here's the other thing too. What the PWHL needs to do now, like their next sort of order of business as well on the ice, the league has to make a star. Because it's always been international hockey that's made the stars. Now it's the job of the PWHL. It's like, okay, this league needs to make the next star. That is their next challenge.
Okay, we've reached. That's a great point by you, Jeff. Haven't heard that said, but you're spot on. We've reached
I get it 1 point a week.
In fact, today I was keeping count. It was like 5, 6 if you're generous. Well done.
Ooh. I'm taking the rest of the week off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you got credit for the pretentiousness and pomposity, just so you know. On some shows, that's a debit. On this show, it's a credit.
I'm the worst. It's so bad.
So we've had the debate this week and the last week because Macklin and Connor both went off with their hat tricks and should they be on the Canadian Olympic team. So I did some digging here. And, of course, 5 Canadian Olympic teams that have featured NHL players, 98 Nagano, 02 Salt Lake City, 06 Turin, 2010. Who could forget here? And, of course, 2014 Sochi. Who is the youngest NHL player to play for Canada at the Olympics?
Sorry, NHL
How
era.
young have Hockey Canada gone in selecting a player
NHL era or
for
all time?
of those 5 NHL era
So
Olympics?
starting in 98.
Starting in 98, youngest member of Team Canada over those 5 Olympic teams and games.
Is it Doughty?
Very
From
good,
Vancouver?
Jeff. Merrick.
Wow,
Is it
really?
Doughty?
Drew Doughty at 20,
20?
years old
Yeah.
here in 2010. I can find 3 21-year-olds who made Canadian Olympic teams. One in 2010, the other 2 earlier Olympiads.
Oh, wow.
Is Eric Lindros one of them?
Eric Lindros is not one of them. I suspected Lindros too, but I think he was like 23, 24 on the Nagano team.
Korea?
No.
Um,
One of them from Salt Lake City, one of them in Turin, one of them Vancouver 2010. 2 wingers and a centerman.
I'm going to be just throwing names
Jeff, any
out there.
guess? Okay.
Brandon Morrow?
No. Simone Gagne at 21 years old on the Salt
yeah.
Lake City team.
Okay, yeah.
He was probably the last guy on that team, too, if I recall. I believe if there was any debate about that.
Great player.
Rick Nash in 06 in Turin was also
Okay.
21. And then Jonathan Taves here with
Yes.
the Vancouver team.
Yes, that makes
In
sense. I was going to guess Taves originally.
But
Okay.
here's the thing.
So
Guys, like you will see a lot of 23, 20, and you especially see 24 and up. You don't see a lot of guys 23 and under playing on Canadian Olympic team, like best on best Olympic teams. What if these kids make it? They will be absolutely shattering the paradigm here in terms of what Hockey Canada has selected in the past.
are you leaving someone out, though?
What do you mean?
Fresh off a 6-1 road trip with the New York Islanders.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, Matthew Schaefer.
Matthew
he just got added to the long list. They're clearly thinking about it.
He
They didn't have to add him to the long list.
Yeah.
He gets the Dixie Cup. He gets the Dixie Cup treatment. Yes, he does. Here's the other one for you. Here's the other one for you. Is I know it's way too early, but what the hell? Is North Vancouver the new Cole Harbour?
Yeah.
Yeah, we made the same comparison earlier the week.
It was our headline yesterday, actually,
It's-
or 2 days ago, whenever it was. Yeah.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's
what's,
silly. Blocks away
what's
from each
happening.
other, effectively.
Okay, on that note, Blake's a North Vancouver guy, Jeff. Well
Yes.
done. Yeah, send him out here with the big hit. Big heads, it was a theme here with Marek. Thank you, sir.
I know.
Until next
If I had
Friday.
the hat on to contain it. Thanks, boys. Be good.
Yep.